My life was completely normal until one night, something happened that still feels unreal. A notification popped up on my screen from a username I hadn't seen in years, Phantom_Blade. He wasn't just any gaming friend, he was the one I spent thousands of hours with, grinding through missions, laughing at inside jokes, and talking about life at 3 a.m. until the day he suddenly disappeared without a trace. No goodbye, no explanation. He just vanished. And after years of silence, seeing his username appear again sent a strange wave of excitement and fear through me. When I opened his message, the excitement instantly died. The text was broken, glitching, almost torn apart as if someone was typing while being chased. Half sentences, corrupted characters, timestamps that made no sense, some from 2018, some from years in the future. And then the line that froze me, "It found me, don't reply." My first thought was that someone hacked his account, but then I noticed something impossible. Hidden between the corrupted lines was an inside joke, a phrase only he and I knew: "Stay away from the mine." That was our old gaming spot, a creepy abandoned mine inside the game where we used to dare each other to go. No one else on Earth could have known that reference. My hands started shaking. I tried replying, but the message wouldn't send. It said, "User not found." I checked Discord, his account was deleted. Steam, profile gone. Reddit, old forums, Twitter, everything was either wiped or locked with no trace left behind. It felt like someone erased him completely. I dug deeper and found an old forum thread he created years ago. The last post was edited on the exact same night I received his message, even though the thread was over a decade old. The message on that edit simply said, "If someone finds this, don't let it follow you." The timing was too perfect. Too unnatural. That's when I made a mistake. I launched our old game. As the game loaded, a pop-up appeared. "A friend wants to join your session." But my friends list was empty. No one was online. Suddenly, on the map, a new marker appeared at a place where no marker had ever existed, the mine. The same mine from the message. When I clicked it, a small note popped up, glitching like the message before: "You're next." I shut the game down immediately, but right before the screen went black, one final message flashed in red, with no sender name: "Tell them I tried." My entire room felt colder. I didn't sleep that night. I needed answers. Was Phantom_Blade alive? Was someone pretending to be him? Or, was something else using his digital trail to reach me? Whatever it was, it wanted me to look. And tomorrow morning, I was going to dig through every part of his old online presence to find the truth. This was only the beginning, and I had no idea how dark this investigation was going to get. The next morning, I woke up feeling like my mind had been dragged through a nightmare and left in reality. I knew I had two choices: pretend last night never happened, or dive deeper into whatever this was. And honestly, something about Phantom_Blade's message felt like a plea, not for help, but for me to understand what happened to him. So I began the investigation. I started with something simple, searching his username across every platform I could think of. Nothing. Not even results in cached pages or old forum backups, which is almost impossible. The internet never forgets, especially in North America where digital footprints linger forever. But Phantom_Blade's presence wasn't faded, it was erased. Cleanly. Perfectly. Almost professionally. The only trace I found was a forgotten gaming forum hosted on an old server, the kind that used to be popular back in 2012. The site was barely functional, filled with broken images and dead links, but when I searched his username, one post appeared, his original introduction message. At first it looked harmless, but when I clicked View History, I realized the thread had been edited again. Not years ago. Not months ago. But last night. At the exact same minute he sent me that glitching message. The edit said, "It's here." It used my voice. My stomach dropped. Someone, or something, was logging into a decade-old forum just long enough to leave warnings behind. I checked the edit's IP address, expecting it to be from another country, maybe a VPN, but the source shocked me. It was from North America. More specifically, from a region close to where Phantom_Blade used to live. I checked his old Steam activity logs using a third-party tool. It showed something terrifying. His account had launched our old game for exactly 2 minutes at 3:14 a.m., the same minute I got his message. How can a deleted account play a game? I called 2 of our old gaming friends, both from the US, guys who knew him just as well as I did. One didn't pick up. The other answered, but his voice sounded tight, uncomfortable. He told me he hadn't spoken to Phantom_Blade in years, but then hesitated, like he wanted to say more. Finally, he sighed and said, "You got a message too, didn't you?" My blood ran cold. That meant this wasn't just me. Something, or someone, was reaching out to people who had been connected to him. I asked him what his message said, but he refused to repeat it. "I deleted everything," he whispered. "My PC, my accounts, I'm done with this. You should be too." And then he hung up. Now I wasn't dealing with a glitchy message, this was a pattern. A deliberate pattern. I kept digging until I found something I wish I hadn't, a small local news page from a town in Canada where Phantom_Blade briefly lived. The article was about a missing 25-year-old, last seen in his apartment, his computer still running a game he hadn't touched in years. The picture was blurry, but the eyes, they looked familiar. Too familiar. And the timestamp on the missing person report? The same day Phantom_Blade last logged in, years ago. This wasn't coincidence. Someone was cleaning up the real world and the digital world at the same time. And every clue pointed back to that one place, that one in-game location, the mine. As the sun started to set outside my window, I realized something horrifying. My investigation wasn't just uncovering his past, it was pulling me into whatever took him. And whether I liked it or not. I had already gone too far to turn back now. By the time I reached the 3rd day of this investigation, I wasn't just curious anymore, I was genuinely disturbed, because every direction I looked in led to the same terrifying pattern. People who had known Phantom_Blade, people who had played with him, messaged him, or even interacted briefly with his old accounts, had gone silent. Offline. Deleted. Disappeared. And the more I searched, the more I felt like something was watching me from the edges of the digital world, waiting for me to make the wrong move. So I focused on the real world, on the places he lived. North America keeps solid digital records, so I started retracing his steps, Washington State, Montana, Alberta, then a quiet town in British Columbia. Everywhere he moved, he left a trail of half-finished accounts, abandoned usernames, deleted posts, like he was running from something no one else could see. I contacted an old mutual friend he once visited in Seattle, and the guy sounded almost relieved I called. He told me that, weeks before disappearing, Phantom_Blade had been paranoid, asking strange questions about hearing his own voice at night or feeling watched when playing offline. At first they joked about it, but then Phantom_Blade sent him a voice note, and the friend swore the voice in the recording wasn't fully human, it sounded like a distorted version of him, speaking over himself, like 2 voices merging into one. When I asked where the recording was, he admitted he deleted it because it felt dangerous to keep. That word stuck with me, dangerous. I went deeper and found a small online community in Canada that discussed unexplained disappearances. Hidden in the comments of an old post was a username I recognized, one of our old teammates. His comment said, "It doesn't just take people, it copies them." And that was the last activity ever recorded on his account. I traced a few addresses related to the Canadian Missing Person Report, and one of them stood out, an abandoned apartment building in Surrey, British Columbia. According to neighbors, a guy matching Phantom_Blade's age lived there for a few months. They complained about strange noises at night, a computer running all night long, and the same glowing window light that suddenly shut off the night he was last seen. I pulled up satellite images of the area, and this is where things got worse. The window of his apartment, the same one glowing in the reports, seemed to have the monitor still on in every archived satellite pass, even months after the disappearance. As if something kept turning it back on. In the last available image, taken at 3 a.m., a shadowy figure appeared sitting in front of the monitor, except the report confirmed the apartment had been empty for months. I told myself it was a glitch, a compression artifact, anything but what it looked like. But then I zoomed in on the screen in that satellite image. The display was blurry, but the shape, the outline, looked exactly like the in-game map from our old game. And the cursor hovered over the one place I least wanted to see, the mine. My heart was pounding. Someone, or something, was still inside that account, still opening that game, still sitting in that abandoned room. And if Phantom_Blade wasn't the one doing it, then whatever had taken him, was still here, still active, still following the same trail that was leading straight to me. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became, this wasn't just a missing person case. This was a chain. A pattern stretching across states, across borders, across years. Anyone who got close to Phantom_Blade, anyone who dug too deep, ended up erased. And now, after everything I had uncovered, I realized that this thing wasn't chasing him anymore. It was already turning toward me. I don't know what pushed me to do it, fear, obsession, or the desperate need to understand, but that night, I decided I had no choice but to go back into the game. The same old game that had been dead for years, shut down by most of the community, forgotten like a relic of early PC gaming, yet somehow still active in ways no abandoned server should be. As soon as I logged in, the intro screen felt different, darker, almost like the colors had bled into each other. And then I saw it again, the pop-up, "A friend wants to join your session." This time, I didn't click anything. I just sat there, watching as the message pulsed, waiting for me. My friends list still showed 0 online, but in the corner of the screen, a shadowy silhouette flickered in and out. It was faint, like someone trying to log in with a corrupted model. I launched a private session anyway, and for a moment everything was silent. Too silent. No ambient music, no wind effects, none of the game's usual sounds. Just a low, distant hum, like an engine running beneath the surface of the map. I opened the map, and there it was, the mine marker. Except this time, it wasn't just a marker. The map seemed to bend around it, like the texture was warping. I zoomed in, and the text under the marker flickered between the mine and something else, something that looked like my own username. Against every instinct telling me to stop, I moved toward the mine. The path was glitchy, textures popping in and out, shadows stretching in unnatural ways. When I reached the entrance, the mine doors opened on their own, even though they were always manual in the game. Inside, the sound design had completely changed, no dripping water. No cave ambience. Just that same humming sound, pulsing deeper and deeper. And then, for the first time in years, something moved in the darkness. A player model. But it wasn't quite human. Its walk cycle was broken, its limbs twitching slightly with every step, as if the animation was being forced. The name floating above it was scrambled, letters constantly rearranging themselves, but every few seconds, it flashed the one name I hoped I'd never see again, Phantom_Blade. My heart hammered in my chest. I spoke out loud, even though it was useless. "If that's you, just say something." The character froze. Not in a normal way, but instantly, like every frame stopped at once. Then the chat box opened by itself. And a message typed in, slowly, letter by letter, "It's not me." I backed away from my screen. Another message appeared, "Don't let it see you." The humming got louder, almost vibrating through my desk. And then behind the broken player model, I saw it, something tall, too tall, moving through the tunnel behind him. Its shape was wrong, like the game engine wasn't meant to render it. Every time it stepped forward, the whole screen flickered, as if the game was resisting whatever this thing was. The player model, Phantom's model, turned to face the creature. And in the chat, one last line appeared, "It learns the people we talk to." My stomach dropped. The thing behind him lunged, stretching across the screen in a single distorted frame. My monitor filled with static. When the game finally crashed, I just stared at my reflection in the black screen, realizing what that last message meant. This thing didn't just follow Phantom_Blade. It didn't just pull him into the mine. It tracked every voice he spoke to, every friend he reached out to, anyone who interacted with him, digitally or otherwise. And Phantom had messaged me. The connection was already made. Whatever was hunting him, now knew my name, my voice, my screen. And it had already seen me in the mine. I shut down my PC, but the moment the monitor went dark, I saw a faint outline lingering on the screen, a tall, distorted shadow, standing exactly where my character had been. And in that moment, I finally understood something terrifying: this wasn't just a game. The mine wasn't just in the digital world. It was a doorway. And I had just walked straight into it. Previously, Adam traveled deeper into Maple Ridge, uncovering the strange connection between the abandoned cabin, the missing girl named Emily, and the mysterious shadow tracking him. But tonight, everything changes. Because Adam receives something no traveler ever expects. A letter from someone he has never met, who knows everything about him. After a cold night in the cabin, Adam wakes up early, hoping to leave Maple Ridge behind. But when he opens the door, a small brown envelope lies on the doorstep. There are no footprints around. No car tracks. Nothing. The front of the envelope reads only one word. Adam. Adam picks it up, confused. Adam whispers. "How does anyone know I'm here?" He opens the envelope. Inside, a single sheet of paper. It says, "Stop searching. She doesn't want to be found." And underneath, in red ink, Tuesday. Adam feels a chill. That same word appeared on the calendar in the cabin. He checks the back of the letter. Blank. He turns the envelope inside out. Nothing. No fingerprints. No marks. Nothing human. Adam drives into Maple Ridge hoping someone saw anything unusual. He visits the local cafe again. The same elderly woman, Martha, is sitting by the window. Adam. "Ma'am, did anyone come by the cabin last night?" Martha's hands shake slightly. "Martha. You found the letter, didn't you?" Adam freezes. "Adam. You knew." Martha looks around nervously. "Martha. People here receive those letters when they get too close." Adam. "Too close to what?" Martha whispers. "To the truth about Emily." But before Adam can ask more, the cafe door opens. A tall man in a gray coat walks in. Martha immediately stops talking, her eyes filled with fear. "Martha, quietly. Don't ask questions when he's around." The man watches Adam. Doesn't blink. Doesn't smile. Just stands there. Adam feels his skin crawl. Adam heads to the sheriff's station. Sheriff Dalton is surprisingly calm. "Sheriff. You found a letter. Good. That means you can leave now." Adam. "So you know who sent it?" Sheriff leans back. "Sheriff. Son, people disappear in this town when they go looking where they shouldn't. Emily did. Her father did. 2 hikers. A journalist." Adam's heart races. "Sheriff, stern. Pack your bags. Leave Maple Ridge. Tonight." Adam leaves, frustrated, scared, angry. But mostly, curious. That night, Adam is packing his backpack when he hears a soft tapping on the window. Tap. 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 But when he looks, no one is outside. He locks the doors. The tapping continues, now from the back of the cabin. Adam grabs his flashlight and steps outside. Nothing. Just silence. He walks around the cabin. And finds another envelope sitting on the ground. This one reads. Look behind you. Adam's breath stops. He slowly turns around. Nothing. Only darkness. He opens the envelope anyway. Inside. The truth is closer than you think. Stop ignoring the signs. Adam notices something new on this letter. A watermark. Of a map. A map of Maple Ridge Forest. But one location is circled. The old quarry. Against every warning, Adam decides to go. He drives toward the quarry. The road is rough, empty, surrounded by tall black trees. The deeper he goes, the thicker the fog. He parks his car and continues on foot. Branches crack behind him. Shadows shift. The wind carries whispers. He reaches a metal fence with a "Danger, Closed Property" sign. But the gate is open. He steps inside. The quarry is huge, stone walls, abandoned machinery, and at the far end, a small wooden shack. A lantern glows inside. Adam slowly approaches. Each step feels heavier. He reaches the door and gently pushes it open. Inside the shack, there's a table filled with photographs. Of the cabin. Of the forest. Of the town. Of Martha. Of the sheriff. And then. A photograph of Adam arriving in Maple Ridge yesterday. Adam feels sick. Someone has been watching him from the moment he entered the town. He keeps flipping through the photos. Then he finds a picture that freezes his blood. A picture of a girl. Emily. Standing behind Adam. From last night. But Adam never saw anyone behind him. The final picture shows a handwritten note. She was here. Tuesday. She chose you. Adam hears footsteps behind him. Slow, heavy, coming closer. The screen fades to black. I didn't plan on opening his last voice message that night, but something about the silence in my room felt wrong, too heavy, too aware, and I needed answers more than I needed sleep. When I finally pressed play, the voice that came through wasn't Phantom_Blades, not really. It started like him, shaky, scared, whispering my name, but halfway through the first sentence, another voice slid underneath it, deeper, broken, almost choking on static, like something was speaking with him, using him as a mouthpiece. He said he wasn't alone in his apartment, that something was standing behind him, copying every breath he took, every movement he made, like a shadow learning how to be human. He said he could hear it whispering in his own voice, my voice, voices of people it had never met but somehow already knew. And then the whispering started rising in the recording, layering over itself, building into dozens of overlapping versions of him screaming in different tones, different ages, different realities, like every version of him that could have existed was being torn apart and stitched back together. I froze when I heard the final line, spoken clearly by the deeper voice, not his, "It found you too." And right then, right on that exact moment, my bedroom lights flickered, just once, but enough to throw a tall, thin shadow onto my wall that didn't match my body. My breath caught. The voice message ended with a soft thud, like he dropped his phone, or like someone else picked it up. And then, right before the audio cut off entirely, a quiet inhale, slow, deliberate, close, like something leaning right into the microphone, smelling him. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. This wasn't just digital anymore. It wasn't trapped in abandoned apartments or forgotten accounts. Whatever took him, whatever copied his voice, had crossed into the real world. And now it knew my voice. It knew my room. It knew where to find me. And judging by the way the air shifted behind me as I replayed that last breath, it was already closer than I wanted to believe. I barely slept after hearing that last breath in the voice message, but the real nightmare started the moment my phone lit up on its own at 3:11 a.m., playing a sound I never downloaded, soft footsteps echoing on a hard floor, getting closer, pausing, then dragging like someone pulling a heavy, broken leg behind them. I froze in bed as the sound suddenly stopped, and before I could even reach for my phone, the audio shifted into my friend's voice, whispering my name, from inside my room. I could hear it breathing under the blankets, mimicking the rhythm of my own breath, just half a second behind, like a shadow learning how to pretend it belonged there. When I slowly turned my head, the corner of my room looked darker than usual, not lights off dark, but a deeper black, like the shadows were merging into something tall and wrong. My chest tightened as the darkness stretched upward, slow and deliberate, forming the outline of a person who wasn't human anymore. Then, it spoke. Not loudly, not violently, just a soft, broken whisper made from layered voices, my friend's voice on top of a dozen others. You kept looking. Now look at me. A cold pressure crawled up my spine as the figure leaned forward, its shape flickering like corrupted video frames trying to render a face it didn't fully understand. And then it repeated something that shattered me: he didn't disappear. He changed. The thing took one step toward me, and the whole room groaned, like the air itself was bending around it. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, couldn't breathe. All I could do was watch as its hand, too thin, too long, lifted toward my face, hovering an inch from my skin, mimicking my exact posture, like it was practicing how to wear me next. I don't remember passing out, but when I woke up, daylight was leaking through my curtains and the corner where the figure stood was empty, except for one thing: my phone, unlocked, with a brand new message from Phantom_Blade, time-stamped at 3:33 a.m., while I was unconscious. The message wasn't text. It was a video. My trembling hands opened it, expecting static, a glitch, anything, but what I saw made my blood freeze. The camera pointed at a dark hallway, lit only by the dim blue glow of a monitor at the far end. The footsteps in the video weren't mine, but the breathing was. Closer, heavier, like someone copying my lungs perfectly. As the camera moved down the hallway, I recognized the wallpaper, the furniture, the shadows. I was staring at my own home, from an angle I couldn't explain. The camera stopped outside my bedroom door. My door. My door that had been closed when I woke up. Everything in me wanted to stop the video, but I couldn't. The door slowly pushed open, and the camera pointed at me, sleeping, helpless, unaware. Then the screen flickered, and a distorted version of my own voice whispered, "You're next." The video ended with a reflection of a figure standing behind the camera, tall, thin, hollow, wearing a shape that almost looked human, but not quite. And then came the final text message, the one that broke something inside me: "I'm not sending these. It uses me to warn you." That was the last communication I ever received from Phantom_Blade. Because the final line, written a full minute after the video ended, appeared in a voice that wasn't his, and wasn't mine either: "Don't try to run. You're already part of it." I threw the phone across the room, shaking, realizing the truth I didn't want to accept: whatever took him, had already chosen me. And the worst part wasn't the message. It was the quiet sound behind me as I finished reading it, the slow inhale of something standing too close, learning the exact rhythm of my breath, preparing to replace it.